Joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, former Pirate QB, host of the Holton Ahlers Show. Holton Ahlers, how you doing, sir?
Clip, doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. As we get ready for bowl week, I guess this is weird. There are two bowl games on the day of Army-Navy. I don't recall it
Is
being
there?
like that. There's two bowl games. The Celebration Bowl is this Saturday.
Which Ryan Stubblefield, starting quarterback, South Carolina State.
Nice, something to look at.
He's
Did
been
not
balling.
realize that.
Yeah, he's been balling, man. If you look at his tape, I've said all along that he always had the talent to do it. He was a little bit shorter. He came in with Mason Garcia, which obviously was going to get the best shot at it. Stubby and Mason probably are the two biggest arm talents to ever play at ECU, and they came in together. Crazy enough.
Frustrates me as someone who doesn't get to see it in practice like you do,
Yeah.
because we never really got to see it in a game. But Stubblefield, he got some fans like in spring games and stuff like that. People like
He
what
was
he did.
good, man. He could run. He could throw. He's perfect fit. I hate to say this, but for this offense now, because he could throw the heck of out of a deep ball, and he was very mobile. I thought if he would have stayed an extra year, the year that Mason and Flynn and all those guys started, he would have been the most successful quarterback out of those three because he was mobile and could move. But he's playing really, really well now for South Carolina State.
Now we got a rooting interest. Go South Carolina State. There's that game. There's also South Alabama and Western Michigan, I believe. They sandwich the Army-Navy game, which will be in the afternoon. So
Dang,
usually,
don't you just love college football?
I mean, yeah, I'll take it. A full day of college football. Pirates and NC State in the Military Bowl, Holt, and a lot of your old teammates that we've talked to, Rajay, and others. I know they're fired up for this, getting one more crack at them. For me, it was like, all right, we start the season with them next year. I'd rather see a different team, but you know what? Deontay Johnson and Elijah Morris, those guys won't be here for that game. So this is their shot at state.
100%. And look, I mean, why? Like as a player, at least that's best case scenario. You're playing a local game, nighttime versus an in-state rival. Like if you want to go out on a bang, go out on a bang. Like that is the time to do it. So I'm thrilled for it as an ECU fan. Now, analytically and stuff like that, are they going to hold stuff back for the next year? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, hopefully, you create new schemes within the off season, but it will. 2 games back to back is weird, but why not? I mean, that's the coolest. I'm pumped for it. Like I just told you, me and Caden are going to it, so we're thrilled about it.
Yeah, you broke the news to me. I will not have my fifth quarter compadres with me.
Yeah, when we agreed to do it with Ellerby, obviously, like that was just one thing. I was like, I don't want to miss out on the memories of being a fan. Like we're all super fans, obviously now, and especially as alumni, and it being close. Like when everything started coming out, we're like, we're gonna go to Fenway if they play in Fenway. We're gonna go to DC and we're gonna go to Myrtle Beach. Anywhere else, we probably won't go. We'll miss the fifth quarter though. I'm sure we'll call them with a couple beers in us, but we're gonna go.
And I do feel like it's fitting that Holton Ahlers should at least witness a military bowl after what happened the last time you were supposed to.
I'm pumped for the guys though. That's a really cool bowl. They run it really good. I think it's one of the better bowl games the American can go to. That's not one of the the huge ones.
That's funny. Alex was talking about he wanted warm weather, but he was also talking about how the bowl committees or whatever handle the bowls, and he said that one is very well run.
It was very well run. Yeah, and not a knock on the Birmingham Bowl at all, but just DC. There's more to do there. There's more things to do. The Birmingham Bowl itself, like the game, I didn't play in the Military Bowl, so I don't know, but I'd imagine it should be a packed house. If not, that's not good. But I mean, having fans be able to travel from both teams has been great.
Pirates love to get a crack at NC State. You know Dave Doran somewhat personally, right?
Yeah.
So and you like Dave Doran.
As a recruit and as a player, I always appreciate him a lot. He was very real to me.
Yeah.
And honest. And honestly, he recruited me way better than Coach Mo did. I liked him, had a way better relationship with him. Drinkwitz, who's now the head coach at Missouri, was the offense coordinator, quarterback coach. I had a really good relationship with both of them. And then it just came down to me wanting to literally just play at ECU and change the program here. So it had nothing to do with them. If I hadn't been from Greenville, it 100% went to state because of them.
Yeah, he seems like the type of guy that if you're with him, you like him. If not, you don't.
Yeah.
He said, ECU, NC State, not a rivalry because they don't play every year. There's something to that. But then kind of went on to say why it is a rivalry in state and the players know each other and all that stuff. So
I think ECU fans, and he has said some stuff that even have made me mad, but knowing him personally, like when you don't like someone, like everything they say, you don't
100%.
like. So like I viewed I don't not like him. I respect him because, I mean, he's done some really good things in NC State. But, like, even him saying that, I don't think was a knock on ECU. It was more of a knock on, like, the ADs of saying just schedule. Like, make it a rivalry. More than that's how I viewed it, at least.
What you said there reminded me of so many fifth quarters that when people are out on, whether it be Jeff Comfort or Scotty Montgomery, they could be like, yeah, Scotty Moe in the third quarter, there was a play, and they ran the play, and he wasn't even looking at the field. He was looking to his right. And I'm like, all right, we can criticize some stuff, but like let's take it easy.
Yeah.
Holton Ahlers joining us. Holton, what do you think about I was going to say the mass exodus of the program from ECU players, but now we're seeing the trend of guys tweeting out, "I'm staying." Anthony Smith, you had Lampley the other day, kind of got a lot of feedback from his. So now the new trend is telling folks you're staying, which is not a bad trend because it seems like so many players are leaving. It's nice to see when guys are sticking around the program.
It is, and I mean, look, there's always going to be guys entering the portal, and like everyone was talking about Chase Sowell. Well, Chase Sowell has offers from SEC schools right now. So, like,
whether you think he's good or not, those offers are real, and he's getting them.
Yeah, and it's like Ole Miss. I know Ole Miss is paying. I know one of their receivers who went there the past year that Zay Winstead's best friend with, and I know what he's driving right now. So he at least is having good offers. So like, it's just college football now. And like me and Cadence on the podcast this week, we were like, just praise the guys that do stay and appreciate the guys who stay, because it's getting a whole lot easier to leave. And that's what it sucks. And NCAA just needs to come in, I think, and just make it the one time when you transfer, you got to sit out a year until you graduate. That is the easiest fix to all of this. And then if you transfer, is someone going to pay you $200,000 while you're sitting out to play the next year? Like, probably not as much. And then it just makes it harder. So, like, as good as that rule was when it released, it got released before NIL. Now that NIL's a thing, put the rule back into place, and it fixes a whole lot of things.
Because a lot of the transfer stuff was about, well, if a coach can do it, why can't a player do it? I mean, now that some of these big time, and I say some, not every player is making money or good money. We had an intern say, hey, I think if you get NIL, it was Brett. I'm doing this New York voice. If you get NIL, then you should pay your way through school. And I said, well, okay, but Danny Beal had an NIL deal from Pirate Radio. He gets a T-shirt and a small check. Should he pay for his entire school because he's got that NIL deal? And he's like, well, no, maybe if you make a certain amount. Can't. So, but the now that guys are making a little money, maybe you could institute that sit out a year rule. Blake Harrell brought up the word contracts the other day. Let's write up some contracts.
That's another thing too. I mean, you're seeing like Pete Thamel, the ESPN guy's tweeting. Like, I know he tweeted the Cincinnati, and the Cincinnati quarterback's coming back because he agreed to a new deal. And I'm like, what is college football came to? But I think the answer. NCAA is not going to do anything about NIL, that I know. Like, they've just wiped their hands clean from the day that it happened. But I think they literally should just bring back the transfer rule, make it 1 year if you sit out unless you graduated, pushes kids to maybe graduate early if they want to get out of there, or they have to seriously want to get out of there to do it, instead of just saying, I'm going to go try this for a year, I might make some money here, and then go figure out what I can do after that. Like, it's not college football, and it's got to change.
Holton Ahlers joining us, Holton, with you and Caden. They had a lot of fun talking college football with you guys this year, the gambling part of it. But how about the college football playoff? Made it a great talking point all year long. Now that we see what it is in its final form, what are your thoughts on it? Did they get it right? Do we need changes? What do you think?
I'm glad Bama didn't make it. I think SMU deserved it. As much as people say their schedule was easy and stuff like that, like the way that they lost the ACC championship, I thought they deserved it. Then when they were getting blown out, they probably wouldn't have made it. But them coming back and storming back with 17 seconds to go, I think they deserved it. And look, at the end of the day, like, I'm glad that the first year of it, they didn't just say, oh, Alabama is Alabama, so they're going to make it. And that's my point on that. And then Miami actually had, I mean, Syracuse is a 9-win team in the ACC. That's a good loss that they had, but they just had it at the wrong time. And then that just sucks for them. And you can't put 3 ACC schools in. Like, if there's going to be a team getting 3 or 4, it's going to be the SEC, the Big Ten. So I have some futures bets on a couple teams, so I feel good about it.
I love that the way it was set up, that the group of 5 was going to get a team in, and I love that Boise said not only are we in, we're going to be ranked higher than the than the, I guess, Clemson, right?
Yeah.
Than the ACC champion. So we're going to get that bye, and good for them that it's set up that way. I think we're going to see changes from that regard when they make its new form in a couple years. But hey, good for Boise. It shows that if East Carolina just wins all their games, they're going to be in. Tulane had a crack at it.
Yes, they did.
Lost to Memphis and kind of knocked them out. I think that black cloud might have stayed over their head for that Army championship, perhaps. So, but yeah, we got a shot. We got to just hope that now when they go back in that room and say, okay, here's what we're going to do in 2026 and 27, that the group of five is still involved. Coach Mack said he thinks the group of five will still have a spot in. I hope he's right.
Yeah, I think it's 12 team is perfect because it gives a little guy a shot, and I think that is the one thing they've gotten right. They've gotten a few things right with it, but I think that's one they won't even think about changing. They may look at like the bye and all that. Boise lost to Oregon by 3 points. Oregon's undefeated this year. So like they're a very good team and probably a dangerous team in the playoff. A lot of people are overlooking them just because they're a G5 school. They have the best running back maybe on earth, and then they lost to the best college football team by 3 points.
It's very Gonzaga-like in basketball where they have that tough schedule before conference play. They get in conference play, and the only good team they see is St. Mary's, who sometimes is ranked. UNLV will be the St. Mary's version, and Boise State beat them twice. UNLV was ranked, so but they haven't been tested like some of these other teams. But when they've taken on top 25 teams, they've either won, like they did against UNLV, or like you said, came very close. So I'm interested to see what happens with them in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I am too, because it also, it probably does have effect. If they go out there and get blown out, it probably will have an effect on the rules going forward. I don't think it should. I mean, I think they've had a good year and deserve it. Like, I think they deserve a bye more than Clemson does. Clemson had a good year and played tough teams, but Boise did the same. I mean, especially non-conference wise.
All right, Holton, 40 Bowls in 14 days brought to you by Tub Thumpers Beverage House. This is at 623 Red Banks Road. They have everything from box wine, mead, to local craft beer for sale. So it is a bottle shop. You go in, you get your alcohol, you go home and watch bowl games. So make sure you check out Tub Thumpers at 623 Red Banks Road. Holton, we'll give you, let's see, a team you faced in a bowl game and a team you didn't get to face. East Carolina went to UTSA last year. You were not a part of that game. Coastal Carolina versus UTSA. They'll be in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. So this is a home game for Coastal, an 11 a.m. kickoff on ESPN. That'll be Monday, December 23rd. Do you like the Roadrunners or the Chanticleers?
So Sean Bailey's strength coach there at UTSA.
Sean Bailey, the former Pirate?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
He's a strength coach at UTSA, so I'm going to go with UTSA on that one. I don't know if I would be excited or very mad if I was a Coastal Carolina player. True. I mean, I think if you're a senior, you're pumped because you're like, this is cool. But then it's like you don't get experience. What are you going to go stay in a hotel for a week? I wonder if they really are. I mean, because you don't really get the bowl experience. I'm sure you do a little bit, but it's just like, dang, that kind of sucks for them.
True, yeah. So you're going Roadrunners there, okay? On the road. Speaking of strength coach, Holton, you dropped out a little nugget the other day that could be some big staff changes, and that was referring to Big John. No longer the strength coach, A-Harp. And everybody I've talked to, y'all love Big John. So that's going to be a big change for the program. What did you think of that news?
Yeah, I got the call early that morning, and the team hadn't even been told yet. So I was like, I'm not going to post it. I've been part of a team where I found out on social media. It's just not fun. And that I'm just not. We have a podcast. I'm not interested in that. We post ECU stuff. I'm not interested in breaking that type of news before players know. But it's a bigger deal than people think. It could be a really good one. Like Big John did good here, and I mean, look, pretty much everyone was available but Chase Sowell at the end of the year, and Chase Sowell ended up entering the portal, so there might have been some of that there. And like as a strength coach nowadays, like that's a huge part of just having guys available at the end of the year is massive. But we talked about on the podcast this week with Luke Larson, like strength coaches have their hands are in the culture almost more than the head coaches are. Like all summer, all off season, and all season, you're with the strength coach at least once a day. Whereas like a head coach, you're only with him when you practice, really, and if you see him in the hallway. So it's a bigger deal than most people think. Now, could we go get someone that does amazing and fits it perfectly? Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad move. I'm just saying it's more impactful than most people think.
Yeah, and I hope we get a guy that off the field is as good as Big John, because Alex said what you said. You're around him a lot more than you are a lot of the other coaches, and he was a guy you could go to talk to about anything. Yeah, and he really appreciated him from that regard. So Hopefully we get a good coach and a good person in here, and I trust Blake Harrell will do that. He's got some staff moves to make here, and of course a lot of player moves to make as well. But
yeah,
still fired up for what Coach Harrell can do here with this program, and this bowl game's important for him, right? Like ECU has struggled against in-state opponents here of late, so if he could get a win there, that'd be fantastic.
Be a good start for sure. I mean, you got to think about it like. The whole Coach Houston thing was he couldn't beat an in-state school. So, I mean, this would be a massive start in a bowl game, too. So, then he plays them again next year. So, you don't want to start off 0-2.
All right, well, let's talk about what everybody's talking about, the NBA Cup quarterfinal.
Yes, sir.
It's the crazy court. Hawks and Knicks. I've already got some Karl Anthony Towns stuff going, Holton. But is this like a every Knick game parlay?
It is.
All right, so it's double for Towns.
Yep.
It is
2 threes for Mikal Bridges.
Bridges 2 threes, and then you got Brunson with
over 20 points, and then Cat over 20 points. But if it's hit 4 times in a row now. So last night I was like, I'm gonna be safe. Cat's coming off an injury, so I made him 15 points.
Okay.
But tonight I'm going 20. So believe it or not, since
back to back though, they're on a back to back.
No, or 2 nights ago. Sorry.
So that was Monday.
Yeah. So since the time I posted it on my social media or the podcast social media, it's went 4-0. And I've bet $50 on the parlay every time. So like I've made a lot of money on college football this year, but I've almost made more
with that
the last 4 games than I have with college football.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm hopping in. Let's see what happens. All right. Good luck to your Knicks. And I don't know. Would you like celebrate an NBA Cup? Like
absolutely. I celebrate each game, Clip. I literally watch Grace, my fiance, is amazing because she actually lets me watch every single game. But I think it's just because she gets some alone time away from me.
Sure.
While I put my jersey on, put my hat on. It's 3 nights a week, so like sometimes we have to, I'll have it on the computer while we're watching Survivor or something. But I mean, she's been great with it. But I've genuinely watched every single minute of every single Knicks game for the past couple of years.
All right, and also tell Grace thanks again. And I did cut my lights off on the truck this time.
Let's go.
So,
is that what it was?
That's what it was.
Yeah, we were doing the podcast and she was producing, and I texted her. I was like, "Clip's car broke down. Can you fix that?" And she's like, "Yeah, I got it."
As I was pulling off, she said, "Make sure you cut your lights off." Thanks, Grace. You got it. All right, Holt. Thanks, man. What's coming up on the pod this week?
Yeah, Luke Larson dropped last night at midnight, so go check it out on Pirate Radio TV, YouTube. I believe it's playing at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, too, on Pirate Radio, and then all socials as well, so you can go check it out.
All right. Interesting fella, interesting story.
Yeah,
Luke Larson.
There were some good ones.
All right. Thanks, Holt. We'll see you, man.
Sir.